It is one thing for you to understand the tools and know the framework to use, and it's another thing to use the leadership skills the right way to boost your productivity. Just picture this for a moment. Imagine you are trying to build a sport team. You understand that it is necessary for you to know their strength rather than focusing on their weaknesses. They need their motivation so that they can bring out their inner potentials. Once they have reviewed that to you, that is when the difference comes in. And that same principle applies in project management. People need you to boost their momentum, to see where they can specialize, because specialization increases productivity. And you need to understand that it is not just about managing tasks and timelines. As a project manager, you are a leader. You are going to lead people. You are going to manage their emotions. People have opinions that you have to listen to, and there are moments where you have to say no. You need to understand that there is a lot in project management rather than just managing timelines and managing tasks. You have to be emotionally present. You have to be psychologically present, technically present in so many different ways. And the combination of these skills that I'm about to review with you today are a very big part of project management. And if you take them the right way, productivity with your team, it is going to increase. There will be no burnout. There will be no confusion. There will always be. The number one skill is communication. I've said this in so many episodes in this channel that you need to understand communication. Communication is going to save you from so many things in your team. Your ability to communicate clearly, concisely, at the right time, at the right place, to the right people is very, very important. And this comes with your active listening, adaptability. It is very important. And when I say communicate, I don't just mean talking, because that is what so many people do. They talk without communicating. Those are two different things. When you communicate to people the right way, they will be with you on the same page, and the output is going to be massive. Your second skill, which is very important, is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence plays a very big role to your team members. People come with different problems from different directions. Your ability as a project manager to manage their emotions is something very crucial, because you will realize that you are in a position of leadership and you don't get to understand what is going on in your team if you don't approach them, if you don't relate with their emotions. Now, emotions have a different way to play with people. It plays with people's psychological, it plays with people's feelings, it plays with their facial expression. You as a leader, you are going to notice these things, and that is where emotional intelligence comes in. Our third skill is decision making. You need to know when to say yes and say no. That is not a weakness, it is your superpower. As a project manager, you're going to face pressure, and if you make decisions under pressure, you're going to fail your project big times. You understand clearly that in order for you to take a decision alongside your project, you have to go through a process, and that is the change control system. Now, if a team member walks up to you and say, I have a suggestion, we could just add this, that is a crucial level for you, but you need to stand, because if you don't take decisions the right way, you are going to mess up with your project. That is why decision making is a very important skill for you to master as a leader. And your next key is delegation. You have to know when to delegate. Which people are you delegating to? You don't need to take a task for marketing and give it to a software developer. It is not going to work. You need to understand proper delegation, because that is going to save you from confusion. It is going to save your team from burnout. Your ability to know how to delegate and to delegate to the right people is a super skill that you need to understand as a project manager. The next skill is problem solving. As a project manager, you need to solve problems. You need to do analysis. You need to analyze your risks, your stakeholders, the budget. It is very important that you solve this problem, because they are going to come. Whether pressure or not, there are problems that you have to solve as a project manager. And people don't get to see that at the front end. It is you, the project manager, who experience all these things at the back end. So when you're getting to project management, you should get this myth that you are just going to be moving tasks up and down, changing timelines. That is not true. That is what the job description says, but there is more to this. That is why you need these skills. They are very, very important. The next skill, which is also a very, very powerful skill, is adaptability. The world is changing in a very fast rate, and you need to be adaptable. You need to know what works, what doesn't work. You see, agile works here, waterfall works here. You need to know the methodologies that work. Don't go into an industry and they say, this is what has always been done, but you realize that you could do something else. So what do? You do it. Don't say, I've always been doing this, I've always been doing that. No, there is adaptability. Adaptability in the sense that you can work in an industry where you have always been using waterfall, and it demands that you use agile, because with waterfall you have already planned everything up front, but with agile you need to iterate, you need to do it over and over, break it into small pieces, work with sprint, work with update. That is how agile works. So that is how you need to adapt. Adaptability is your skill that you need. The last skill which I'm going to give you is something that people don't take it very serious, and it's very important that you master this skill. That is motivation and team building. People need motivation. People need that energy, and it's your job as a project leader. If you don't motivate them, you are going to fail. You need to build a team where you have to celebrate their wins. You have to compensate them. You have to identify the people who are putting in the work, so that you can differentiate between those who are not putting the energy. Celebrate every win so that you motivate your team members. Don't be a project leader who comes and everyone is just scared. They cannot voice their opinions to you. They cannot make decisions because they think that you are too authoritative. You don't listen to people. It doesn't work like that in project management. You need to be approachable so that you can give people the opportunity to voice out what is necessary, what is not necessary. And that can only be done if you are motivating them and you're building a team. If anything I've shared with you today resonated, if it sparked a thought, a feeling, or even just a question, then do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. And my promise to you alongside with my team is to consistently bring you real, honest, and valuable content that helps you figure out project management, leadership, one conversation at a time. One more favor, if you hit that like button, it shows that our content makes a difference, and this is going to reach out to so many people. Thank you for doing that.